this is Tina from Shabbydabbydoodah. Welcome back to my channel. So we are here for another one of our mass making sessions. We are up to week number 179, would you believe? So yep, for anybody who doesn't watch my channel, basically we are doing reruns. So we are rerunning week number 79, so week number 179. So what are we making this week? We are making little mini bows for your junk journals. So yep, we're going to make some bows with the forks. So ribbon bows with the forks, and we're also going to make some little stitched bows. So if you want to join in the mass making this week, what you're going to need is you're going to need a bunch of different ribbon. Now I've brought along different types of ribbon, and hopefully I'm going to kind of show you the advantages and disadvantages of different types. We are making miniature kind of bows, you know, smallish ones. So these are roughly, they're just under 1/2 inch thick, the ribbons that I'm going to be using. I have got one or two thicker ones. So that one looks like it's about 1/2 inch thick, but it is an organza ribbon. I've got this one here, which is more like a grosgrain ribbon, which is like 1/2 inch. I think this maybe won't work, but I will, you know, give it a try. I've got some satin ribbon, which is again about 1/2 inch thick. It may work slightly better because it's kind of like a thinner, you know, thinner texture than like the grosgrain. But we're just going to kind of experiment, and we will see kind of what works best. Now, in my kind of like previous kind of experience with making bows, I have found the most success to be with either an organza kind of ribbon, i.e., you know, this see-through kind of ribbon because it's very nice and thin, or the satin ribbons in the sort of slimmer size, so about 1/3 inch wide. So I've got a couple of those in different colours. Mine just happen to be polka dot. That's just kind of, yeah, fluke why they're both polka dot. Actually, I've got another one here, so I could pull this one in. And I do really love spotty ribbon, I have to say. I just think it's really, really pretty. Yeah, so I mean, I find that they're quite good. The satin ones, like I say, yeah, they're quite good. The ones that definitely I would say kind of, you know, they're just more of a struggle are things like the grosgrain. Now, I did in the last one, I think, use some velvet ribbon. I'm not even going to bother with that one this time around. I mean, it worked okay, but it's, yeah, a little more kind of tricky to use because, of course, it is, you know, it's pretty thick. So it's not ideal. So I'm going to just stick with, you know, the ribbons that I know are kind of more successful, hopefully. So I'm going to move these out the way. So all you're going to need, sorry, I didn't finish the exhaustive list, so we went all over the ribbons and nothing else. So ribbons, you're going to need a fork. We're going to do some fork ribbons, and then you're going to need some needle and thread. Now I have tried to be a little bit organized and pre-threaded a whole bunch of different threads there. So just on, you know, normal needles, normal thread. Okay, so I've just kind of pre-threaded them to spare you the pain of watching me try and thread them. And aside from that, you're going to need some scissors. I have got my hot glue gun here just plugged in, just in case I wanted to kind of like, you know, secure them, I suppose. You know, just sometimes, you know, you might want to just stick one of the kind of what I would call the legs kind of like hanging down or something like that, you know, just in case. And I think that's pretty much it, to be honest. So yeah, let's get making some. So I'm going to show you the fork ribbons first. Now I have to say the fork ribbons, they're not ideal to do on camera, and the reason I say this is because normally if I make the fork ribbons, I would clench the fork like in between my knees like this, and then do the, you know, the bow, because obviously then that's holding the fork in place. So doing them like this, not the best, because obviously my fork is then kind of, you know, at risk of moving around, but I'm going to try and show you. So basically you're going to take your ribbon. Now you could cut your ribbon down, and I think in the last video I think I did cut it down. I can't remember really why I did that, whether there was a bonus for doing that. So I'm going to try first of all with this still attached, so it's still the long length of ribbon, and then we'll kind of see how that works. So all I'm doing is I'm putting it behind the fork, i.e. the fork is on, you know, the curved side down, and I'm putting it behind like that. Then you're going to bring it round like this, and then you're going to cross it over. Now you want to cross over like that. And then you're going to take your, you know, your short edge. So if you've still got it attached to the thingamabob, you know, the rest of the reel, you're going to take your short one and you're going to put that through this middle prong of the fork. Now, this is hard to show, like I say, and hard to describe, but you're putting this through that middle prong like that. Okay, pull that through. Oops. And then you're going to come up and go through the middle prong at the top like that. Okay, so if I bring this up to the camera to just show you, you've got it kind of going through here and then back through. So it's all through that middle prong. And then what you're going to do is you're going to tie that into a knot. So like that. And that is literally it. You've made your ribbon. Okay, so when I take that from the fork now, that is now your ribbon. Now this is where I say you may want to have like some hot glue, or you know, wet glue would be fine too, to be able to kind of like tidy your stems up or your legs up, because on the fork bows I do find they have a little bit of a tendency to kind of go all over the place. So if I just cut that down like that, so as it looks pretty, and then you see my kind of, you know, my legs, they're a bit, you know, wayward and all over the place. So I can just take a little bit of hot glue and just put a little bit in here. Oops, unfortunately I dabbed that onto the ribbon, so now I've got a big blob of hot glue, which is not looking great. And then a little bit here like that. Okay, now please excuse the fact that I dabbed the hot glue there and it was a bit discoloured, but aside from that, you've now got your legs, you know, or your stems of the ribbon going in the right direction. So if I just cut those down, I had cut them down already, but I'm just going to cut them down a little bit more like that. Okay, so that's why I said about the hot glue. So super cute bow, isn't it? So I'll do another one. Like I say, they're a little bit tricky when the fork moves around. They are better if you can clamp the fork, and normally, you know, I'd kind of do it sat down with my knees bent, and then you can, you know, clamp the fork still. So we go round the back of the fork, okay, and then we take our, you know, yeah, shorter end. And before I think we went under, but this time we could go over. It doesn't really make much difference, like that. And then you're just going to thread it back through that middle prong. So all the time you're going through that middle prong. Okay, oops, it's very fiddly. I should really put my glasses on. They're just on top of my head. I'll have to pull them down in a minute because it is very tricky to show, and normally I would have this closer to my face, but because I'm doing a video it's kind of far away. So then you tie this up. Oops, tie that up like that, and that's literally it, your bow like that. Okay, now I have to say, I said I didn't think it made any difference. Actually, I think it does make a difference, because that's a kind of bigger knot now. So yeah, in hindsight I would go the other way, but for this purposes I'm just going to, you know, put a little bit of glue on there to secure that down. And I mean, the other thing is you're then obviously able to, you know, secure the bow from coming untied or undone. So it's kind of good practice anyway, putting the glue in, I think. So like that. Then we just trim this down on there, on there. Oops, oh dear, I made a horrible job, so I'll just go back in and do it the other way, I think. Oops, there we go. So how cute does that bow look? Now I have to say, can you see the difference between these two bows? So one was going kind of under, one was going over. This one was the over. It's got a much bigger kind of centre part. I don't know whether that is, you know, because of going over, or whether it's just coincidence. But yeah, just for, you know, learning purposes, I'm going to make sure I go under for the next one. So this again is another satiny ribbon. Obviously you can see lilac. And this one is much thinner, much thinner. So this may be actually, you know, pretty flimsy, but we'll give this one a try. So again, this has got a right side and a wrong side. So a sort of satiny side and a sort of dull side. So I put the dull side round the back of the fork. And then I'm going over here like that, so that I can go through at the bottom, because that was how we decided it made the neatest, oops, the neatest bow. So through there like that. Okay, and then down the top like that. Oops. And then we just go through there, tie that into a knot like that. Okie dokie, like that. And that's it. And then we can pull that one off. Now I have to say, at this first glance, I'm thinking this one's actually come out really nice. I thought this might actually be a bit too flimsy to produce a nice bow. It actually, I think, has produced a nicer bow. So, you know, goes to show it is worth playing around with different ribbons, because sometimes the ones you least expect, you know, you're probably going to, or possibly going to get the nicest results. So pop that glue in there like that, and then just snip these, what I call the legs off like that. How gorgeous is that? Such a pretty bow, isn't it? So, and that's just very, very, very flimsy ribbon. So, you know, goes to show, don't kind of discard or what's the word? Oh, what's the word? Not discard, you know, oh, I don't know what the word is, but anyway, just don't necessarily think it's going to be the one that you think that's going to be rubbish. So I've got this. Now this is a Grosgainy type ribbon. So we're going to give this one a try. Now in the past, like I said, I've found the Grosgain to be a little bit on the thick side for this. That being said, obviously sometimes, you know, the quality of the ribbon may just depend and things like that. So this could be a sort of thinner quality Grosgain to some that I've used in the past. So maybe would turn out okay. Like we said just now, it's, oh, sorry, I have to start again. This is where obviously it would be easier with the fork clamped still. It is worth trying, because you just don't know, you know, which one's going to come out best. So again, poke that through at the bottom like that. Okay, through that top loop, and then just going to knot that here. Oops, like that. Okay, like that. Okie dokie. Now, what you can see here is this is what I have found when using a thicker ribbon, is it's very difficult to tease the legs one way. So you end up with this kind of effect where you've got a leg going in either direction. Now, personally, you know, I don't mind that. Obviously, I would use this in a different way. So this I would perhaps use, you know, like say at the top of a frame or something like that, you know, it would just look awesome. So if I just bring in, like, say this flower, just pretend was a frame, you could put it at the top of the frame like that, and it would look super pretty. If you've used a thicker ribbon and you've got the kind of stems going either side, these are quite nice, I think, to use like that, going across a piece, if that makes sense. So, you know, just because it's not gone in the conventional way with the stems both hanging down, I still think it's quite a nice kind of ribbon to use. So I'm going to cut this and leave the stems kind of long, so that when I use this, you know, I've got the option to use it like that. Now I'm going to try and do one with the Grosgain, but pulling the stems down in one direction, if that makes sense. So again, I've gone round, again going down, you know, so that I'm feeding it through the bottom and then over like that, and then through the top. And what I'm going to do is try and coax these, oops, these legs or stems, or, you know, the ribbon. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry about this. This is really fiddly. Oh my goodness, I have been dreading doing this video. I saw it coming up a couple of weeks ago and thought, oh no. Right, so we've gone like that. Now what you can do is try and coax your stems or your legs, or, you know, whatever you call these things, down in one direction. So if I pull this ribbon off now, okay, these have got a tendency to want to flick up. So I'm going to go in pretty quick with my hot glue and just hold that down like that. Okay, and then this one, this is actually kind of on the inside of that. So again, just a little dab of hot glue to just ensure that that's going down, you know, in the same direction as the other one. And then we can just snip these off like that and like that. So, you know, you can see, I mean, I said that the grow gain didn't work so well. I think you'll probably agree. I mean, it works perfectly fine, you know, it's no worse, but it's just, it is a bit more fiddly to work with. You know, these are much more determined to want to go kind of splaying in different directions and things like that. The thinner ribbon is easier, but, you know, it has worked pretty well actually. So let's do those. And then I'm just going to try one with a thicker ribbon, just because kind of we said that we were going to try a few different types. So I've got a thicker ribbon here. Now this is a satiny type ribbon, but we'll just see how this one looks. So, whoops. Now I don't know how this is going to look. It might look ridiculous because the ribbon might be kind of like too thick to really be identifiable as a bow. But we give it a try because, you know, it might look very cute. Who knows? So I've gone in the, you know, the direction that we said worked best. The, you know, the over, the under, or the under and then the over. Just need to kind of like thread that through a little bit more like that. Okay, and then just tie this round. Oh my goodness. I'm sort of pulling this ribbon apart. Haven't left a long enough piece, unfortunately, so I've kind of like threaded it a bit. So it's looking a bit threadbare, but let's pull that down. Okay, so yeah, I mean, you can probably see it has turned out quite cute. Again, it's got that sort of splaying in opposite directions with the legs, so, you know, from that point of view, probably not really ideal, but, you know, kind of quite cute. I mean, yeah, quite cute. I don't know. Personally, I'm not loving it, but yeah, I mean, I guess you could kind of make it work. I mean, I'm just wondering whether you could even cut the stems off completely and have this more like a, you know, bow without legs. A legless bow. Yeah, more like that kind of thing. And then you could just kind of glue that on. I mean, I don't know. This would be like what I would describe as like a Minnie Mouse type bow, or like a bow tie, you know, where you haven't got anything coming out at the bottom. And I have got just a little frayed bit, but yeah, you know, I mean, yeah, I probably would not do that again, to be honest, because also it's quite thick here. It's got a lot of bulk because that ribbon was so thick. So it's almost as bulky this way as it is that way. So it just, for me, it doesn't really work that brilliantly, but I thought it was worth just trying one. So the only other thing that I think's, you know, worth showing is some of the organza ribbon. So I've got this pink organza here, and hopefully you'll see, you know, this is what I find easiest. So again, just going to thread this round in the way that we found was best. So going down through that middle prong downwards. So it's gone, you know, over the ribbon downwards, and then, oops, through that middle section there. And then just, I mean, you know, you might be able to clamp your fork down, you know, maybe like with a pile of books or something like that. I don't know. Or maybe like some blue tack or something, and kind of like blue tack your fork down so it's not moving. You know, it's quite tricky, I think, when it is moving, but so how gorgeous does that bow look? So, you know, they're definitely the ones that I find are most successful, is the organza ones. So just pop in a bit of glue there to hold it, you know, hold the legs kind of in that same, or, you know, that definite direction. So like that, okay? And then we just, like that. And I probably need a little bit more glue there, I think, actually. So yeah, just a little dab there, like that. Isn't that one just gorgeous? So, I mean, definitely for me, I think that's my favourite one. You know, it just seems to work the best out of all of them. You know, there's not much bulk and it's just worked perfectly. But, you know, obviously sort of different people might have different sort of opinions on that. Now, the only other thing actually that I will just try just before we go on to the stitched bows is I'm just going to try a wider organza. So this is some organza, obviously, but it's wider. So let's just give this a try and see if this one works any better than the other one that was in the wider ribbon. So we've gone again like over the ribbon there and then through the, you know, through the central, oops, the central prong, oops, like that, okay, and then through the centre bit there, and then just tie this one in a knot like that. Okay, and then if we just take this one out, so you can probably see what's happened here is we've got the same thing again where those legs are kind of splaying in separate directions. So again, what you could do is kind of like tame them down, or, you know, coax it down, a little dab of glue to kind of like hold that in place. But, you know, I mean, it's kind of just worth noting it's not its natural flow, you know, it's not wanting to naturally go down. So I think that's probably the lesson there is, you know, it's not its natural kind of state. So it therefore just makes it a little bit trickier to use. But I mean, it looks quite pretty, doesn't it? It's, you know, it's not awful, but I mean, those legs look kind of a little bit kind of too big, don't they? So yeah, I probably wouldn't really do that. But I just wanted to kind of show you to demonstrate. So that's the fork method. And then the other method, which I have to say, I normally generally prefer the bows that they make, but I do not like the process so much. They are not very, you know, I don't find them very nice to use, make, because I find them quite fiddly. So I'm going to make one here with this polka dot satin. So I've got the satin. Now I am again going to leave it on the spool for the time being. And then I'm just going to take my needle and thread. Now I think this is, I think it's polka dot black on ivory, but who knows? It's very hard to see whether it's black or brown. But so I'm going to use some black thread and hopefully that will be nice and easy to see anyway. So all you do, you take your ribbon and then you're going to kind of go round like that. So it looks a bit like a man's collar on a shirt is the only way I can describe it. And then what you're going to do is kind of squeeze it together, pinch it together. So like that, okay? And then you're going to take your needle and thread. Now I've already knotted mine off and things, and you're just going to go through the bottom like that, okay? Now I tend to, I think I'm right in saying, it's a long time since I've made these bows, but I think I normally do like 3 or 4 stitches, okay? So you're going to go through with like a running stitch, the center like that. And then when you squeeze that, it's going to go up through the bow. And then once you've squeezed it, you can then go round a couple of times. I like to do it normally like that. And that gives you then like your, you know, like a bow center, if you see what I mean. So that's why it's quite nice to use a matching thread. So if this has got black polka dots, which I think it has, although it is hard to see whether it's black or brown, you know, it kind of goes then. And then once you've wrapped it round a couple of times, I then like to just go through the whole bunch like that with my stitch, okay? And that's hopefully kind of securing it. And then you can come to the back and then just kind of like finish it off by going through the back. Oh gosh, sorry, I'm not great with my needle and thread. Through the back a couple of times like that. So just 2 or 3 times like that. Saves you tying a knot, and then you can just snip that off like that. I'm so sorry if you can hear my smoke alarm. It's been bleeping for a couple of days, and I took the, you know, not the lid, but, you know, the thing off of it, because I thought, oh, it must need a new battery. It's a wired in one, so I have no idea why it's bleeping. So it's constantly bleeping, so I do apologise if you can hear it. I don't know why it's bleeping, but yeah, certainly I can't fix it. So that's what that looks like. So, you know, really, really, really cute. And obviously that was using the satin. So let's do another one or two of those in some other, you know, other ribbon, just to kind of get a comparison and see kind of how they look, you know, how they differ. So I'm going to do a Grow Gain one. I'm trying to think. I think in the past these have gone okay using the Grow Gain, because they're not quite as bulky as like the fork bows. So yeah, they should go okay. Oh gosh, I'm not really doing a very good job of even tying my knot in my thread here, so that doesn't bode well to say for the rest of the video. Right, okay, so let's move this out the way. So I've got some grey Grow Gain. That's a bit of a mouthful. Okay, and again, going to take this round. Now, I've not cut it, like I say, so that way I've got a bit of flexibility for kind of like altering the size of it. Now, as you can see, I mean, this is probably like an inch wide, just slightly bigger than an inch, about 1.25 inches or something. And again, you know, no precise kind of measurement, just do it as you kind of think looks a good size. But again, what we do, we just thread that through the bottom and then a running stitch through the whole center of the ribbon like that. Okie dokie, pull it tight and then just wrap this around. So, you know, wrap it around as many times as you like. Maybe we'll do 3 or 4. I did just say a couple, I think, in the first one, but yeah, about 3 or 4 times perhaps, like that. And then take your needle and you just pop that right through the whole thing. So like that. Okay, and then you can turn it over and then just go straight through the back a couple of times like that. Oops. Oh my goodness, sorry about this. A couple of times through the back like that, and then just snip that off like that, and then just cut your little legs like that. How gorgeous does that look? Absolutely so cute, isn't it? Now I have to say, I have been leaving a bit of an overlap, but actually in hindsight, because I haven't made these for a long time, I think maybe I prefer these when they're not got an overlap. So I'm just going to demonstrate what I mean by that now, because obviously, you know, they might look better like that. So you'll see hopefully the difference when we do the next one. And I'm so sorry, we're not having a relax and a chat and a catch up, are we? But there's a lot to talk about, I think, with these ribbon bows, these little kind of miniature bows. So, you know, obviously we might be able to relax into it in a minute, but all the time there's kind of things to talk about and notice and kind of not observe, but, you know, to learn and to share. Then it's kind of like nice to share the process rather than just talk about what we're doing. So yeah, that's why I'm kind of still just talking about it rather than kind of, you know, having a nice kind of relaxing time just doing it. So I'm going to take this one. Now this one again is another Grow Gain one, but I just want to demonstrate what I was meaning there. So the last couple we've done like this, and we put like that shirt collar and then we squished it down, but we squished it down with a kind of like shirt collar back showing, if that makes sense. So when I said just now we might prefer it flush, I'm talking about more like this. So can you see the difference? I've pulled that back down more or less in line with the front. Now I'm just going to try and stitch this. I don't know whether this is going to look nicer or not, but you know, it might not even look much different at all, but it's just worth kind of trying. you know, while we're doing it, because, you know, I know that I haven't made these for a while, and I'm sure that, you know, I did kind of make a decision about this once before, but I can't remember now whether I preferred them flush or not. So definitely worth trying, you know, both ways. So again, wrap this round a couple of times, you know, 2 or 3 times or 4 times, however many times you want them. Obviously, the more times you wrap it round, you know, the thicker your center part's going to be. And then just take your stitch straight through up the middle like that. Okay, and then again go to the back. We just then secure that off like that, and you know, we just stitch through here like, you know, 2 or 3 times, or, you know, 2, 3, 4 times, and it just saves you then having to tie a knot. So, you know, I used to tie a knot, and then I thought, well, actually I don't need to if I just go through a few times. So it's just kind of finding what's quicker, really. Quicker, and I guess less bulky without the knot. So that's that one. So, I mean, again, I didn't probably make a brilliant job of it, but just to show you, I mean, it doesn't look a lot different because I did go off obviously on this side, but I think it is probably slightly better if it's more flush rather than with the back kind of showing. But, you know, you can just kind of play around and sort of see what you think, really. So I'm going to put that to one side, and then we're just going to do one, you know, in some different ribbons. So I'm going to take a different coloured thread. I've got some pink thread here somewhere. I mean, like I say, I did, you know, thread all my threads first to make sure that I was kind of ready to go. So yeah, we'll take this pink now, and we'll do one with the pink organza, just to sort of see how the pink organza one looks. So again, just like that, and I will do this one flush more, so like that. Oops, like that. Oops. Take my needle, pop that through here. Okay, and then just through there, through there. Okay, and then we just kind of, you know, squish it, which kind of almost pinches, like, you know, the middle together, like that. Take it round a few times. And at this point, you know, you maybe could add like a pearl or something like that. That looks quite pretty. I haven't ever done that myself, but I have bought them with a kind of pearl in the centre. I don't even know where my pearls are, otherwise I could demonstrate what that would look like. But yeah, again, you could just experiment with doing things like that. I'm sure they'd look gorgeous. And then just, oops, go through at the back to secure that off. One. Oops. Oh, come on. Sorry about this. Oh, very fiddly. Very, very, very fiddly. Right, there we go. Like that, and we just snip that off here. And then again, just snip those legs down. So one, and then that one here, like that. Okay, so that's that one. So, I mean, super cute. My favourite are definitely the organza ones, it's got to be said. You know, but like I say, it may just be, you know, different thicknesses, different kind of ribbons work in different ways. You know, maybe kind of different people would get on better with other ones, I don't know. But definitely worth experimenting with kind of all different ribbons, because you may find that actually, you know, you like, I don't know, the organza, the grosgrain even, you know, just because I don't kind of get on best with that, you maybe would. So it's definitely kind of like worth experimenting around with what you've got. But the key thing, I think, I would say, is for this size bow, you do want a thinner ribbon, not like a sort of big 1 inch thick ribbon. You know, you want a slimmer line ribbon. So I've just got this. This is, I don't know what I'd describe this as. It's not a grosgrain, it's not a satin, it's not a organza. I don't know what I would describe this as, but we'll just make one with this. So obviously you can see it's gingham. Hopefully it's going to look very pretty. So again, taking the pink thread And, you know, you can mix these up with different coloured threads and things, and that would give you different looks as well. So, you know, I just think they're really, really nice, to be honest. And again, they're another really handy thing to just have in your stash ready-made. You know, and I know we talk about this a lot, but I mean, personally for me, I just think having a bunch of things ready-made is kind of like the time-saving element of journal making. You know, and I know I have talked about this often, but funnily enough, I watched a video the other day by Gail Agostinelli. I think she was doing her journal tips and tricks, you know, part of the collaboration that Rach and Bella Crafts had organised this time around. And she as well was saying the benefits of making ahead and, you know, how time-saving that really is. So, yeah, I thought, well, I'm in good company there because Gail Agostinelli is also saying it. So, yeah, definitely, definitely. The more things that you can have ready-made, pre-made, you know, make ahead, the faster your journal process or journal making process is going to be. So definitely, definitely, you know, I would recommend having kind of a bunch of things ready-made. Even if you don't end up using, you know, all of them in a journal, if you see what I mean. You know, so you make some things to go for a journal, or, you know, to go with a journal, and just used half the things for that journal as ready-made pieces. Every little helps. So, you know, even if you just used, or, you know, the journal was just containing half the things for it as, you know, from ready-made things, it's going to be a time saver. So, you know, definitely, definitely, that's a kind of big one, I think. So, yeah, that's that one. So, I mean, you can kind of see they're different looks, aren't they? I don't know. You know, I think just definitely worth playing around. Just going to try some of this satin because this just turned out so brilliant with the fork bow. So I'm kind of intrigued how this will look now. This is very prone to fraying. So, you know, if you've got ribbon like this, you may want to get the ends with a lighter where you just kind of singe the ends. It's not singeing. I don't know what you'd describe it as, but yeah. And that way you've kind of then secured the ends off so that they're not prone to fraying anymore. So we just tie this one up. Now I'm using a pink thread for this one. I have got some lilac thread also tied, or, you know, threaded, but I'll just try this with the pink for a minute and we'll just see how it looks with the pink. So yeah, might look quite pretty. So like that, and then we just go through. There we go. Right. So again, kind of trying to squish that down more level this time rather than staggered. Hopefully you can see that. I did try and zoom in a bit more today because I thought this is quite a fine process, you know, so I thought perhaps it would benefit from being closer to the camera. So hopefully this is kind of like a good view. Hopefully not kind of like too close that it's making you all feel sick, but yeah, because I just thought, well, when it's something quite intricate like this, you probably need to be a bit closer, don't you? You know, than maybe if it was sort of a big piece of paper. You know, these are obviously very tiny, so yeah, just thought it probably benefited from being a bit closer. So, you know, and you might want to just thread around a few more times, I don't know. Like that, okay. Oops, just go through that once more. I mean, as you can see, it's fraying all here. So I probably should have left longer, you know, more hanging, but it's okay. I'll just, again, thread that through at the back a couple of times. Oops, okay. I'm so sorry about that smoke alarm. It's very, very annoying. And it goes on all night, which of course, you know, I mean, actually at first it was waking me up, but now, to be honest, it's been going on for like 5 days or whatever. I'm kind of used to it. So I've become immune to it. I need to Google what to do. If it's a wired in one, what does that bleeping mean? There we go. So yeah, I mean, actually on this one, weirdly enough, I think that maybe the fork one worked better. I don't know. But very cute, isn't it? So yeah, we can finally probably come to a point where we just relax into it and just kind of do a few. Obviously there's not really a kind of you know, assembly line style to making these or anything like that, because of course they are just, you know, they are what they are. It's not like we could do one part of the process, you know, and then the next part. They're kind of all one thing. So yeah, we can just relax. I won't probably mention anything unless there's something suddenly different or, you know, rubbish that I'm kind of wanting to point out. So yeah, for the next 20 minutes, we can just have a relax, have a catch up and have a nice time, hopefully. So yeah. So I hope everybody's week has started out well. I know I say this every week, but you know, as you know, if you watch my channel and you watch these mass making, I do tend to make these, you know, on a Monday, ready to go up for you guys on the Tuesday. So yeah, I'm making this obviously on the Monday morning. So my week has just started out. So just using a thicker ribbon here, sorry. Yeah, my week has literally just started out. So yeah, it's an okay day. Well, it was looking really nice, to be fair. It was looking very bright and sunny, and I thought, oh, it's actually really nice. But it seems to be clouding over now and deteriorating, so probably be raining by the time I finish in 20 minutes. So yeah, I want to just say thank you to everyone who's been watching my Victorian album junk journal that we've been making together. So, and I know that lots of you have said that you too have got some of those Victorian album books that, you know, they're so beautiful, aren't they? And you can't resist buying them. And I'm so the same, you know, I kind of always feel compelled to buy one, you know, if I see them. And then I do kind of get them home and think, oh my goodness, I don't know how I'm going to use that. I think I did mention, but I had a like cherubs and angels one, which I did make a junk journal using that. Oh gosh, like about 4 years ago probably. And that turned out so pretty, I have to say. I really did love it. But yeah, aside from that, I haven't really used them, to be honest. And, you know, still I'm drawn to them. I mean, what on earth is that about? But yeah, so it was good to actually finally use one. And I haven't done the flip through yet. Obviously, I have completed. Isn't that really pretty, by the way? So much wider, but it looks gorgeous, doesn't it? So yeah, I really like that one, actually. I might do a couple in this. Oh, I might not have enough thread. Right, let's put that to one side. I've got some lilac thread though, so I could use the lilac. Definitely, definitely. Wherever I've put the lilac. Okay, here we go. Well, this might be white actually. Oh well, doesn't matter. What were we saying? Yes, I haven't done the flip through yet, but I have completed the journal. So yeah, I really hope that you love it, you know, and when I finally get round to doing the flip through, and I know that I haven't also uploaded the flip through of the junky junk journal that we made, you know, that was kind of like similar to my own journal, you know, from my kind of when I made, yeah, the junky one a couple of weeks ago or a few weeks ago, inspired by kind of the journals that I've not parted with of my own journals. I have filmed that flip through, but I haven't uploaded it yet. So just partly because, you know, I haven't kind of managed to approach the person on the waiting list to see if they would like it. So yeah, obviously that's kind of yet to come as well. But I will definitely, you know, I will do a flip through obviously of the Victorian album one. And yeah, I mean, I really, really enjoyed working with it in the end, because on the videos that you're kind of watching so far, you know, I was so nervous because when I first started it, I just thought, well, I haven't really got a clue how I'm going to actually get this to look good. Actually, this looks better probably that way round, strangely enough. So I might just have it that way. Yeah, I was so nervous because I just didn't really know how I was going to kind of pull it together. And so it was kind of like, yeah, bit nerve-wracking at first. But the finished journal, you know, I really hope that you will love when I do the flip through, because it looks really pretty. And I have to say, the cover especially, which I have filmed, and hopefully I think that's probably coming tomorrow. Oh my gosh, the cover was probably one of my favourite covers I've ever done, actually. It looks so pretty, and it's such a different kind of look for me. very, very Victorian, and just, oh, really, really, really loved it. So yeah, I really hope that you guys will like the cover when I do it, you know, on video, because I just was so pleased with the cover, because like I say, it did look very, very different to, you know, any cover I've done really. So yeah, I really hope that you love it when it's on. But yeah, thank you so much to everyone who's made comments and, you know, who's been following the process, and I hope you feel, you know, maybe inspired to kind of do something with your Victorian album journals if you've got them, you know, because it's annoying, isn't it, when we feel like compelled to buy these things and then we get home and we can't use them, or, you know, don't use them, or don't know what to use them for. And you know, I'm so guilty of that. I do it all the time. So yeah, and thank you so much to everyone who's bought anything, like the damask papers and things that I've been obviously using in that series. I really do appreciate your support, so thank you so much. I really, really appreciate that as well. So yeah, and I hope that you're having a lovely time using the papers if you've bought any and things. So yeah. Oh, what have I been watching? So I have watched something this week called The Gold. Well, funnily enough, I've watched a couple of little mini-series actually. So they're both recommendations from my parents. So one was called The Gold. It was on BBC One. And I binge watched it. My parents are still watching it because they're watching it, I think, in like live time. And I saw them on Sunday and I said, oh, I've finished it. And they said, oh, don't tell us what, you know, how it ends, because we haven't seen the whole of it. And I said, oh, I didn't realise that you weren't binge watching it. So yeah, I kind of then obviously beat them through it. But anyway, I really enjoyed that. It was very, very good. It was about something called the Brinkmat robbery, Brinksmat or Brinkmat. Anyway, I'd never heard of that before, but I think it was a robbery in 1983, I think it said. And yeah, it was really good little drama. I just really enjoyed it. It was good. It was very interesting. You know, and like I say, I mean, I hadn't heard of that. So, you know, yeah, I found it quite good. So I've watched that. And then I also watched something else that my parents recommended called Desperate Measures, which was a Channel 5 drama. Oh gosh, who was the actress in it? I can't remember now who she was, but I'd seen her in other things anyway. I can't think of anything else that she's been in, but anyway, I've seen her in lots of things. That was also pretty good. And again, I binge watched the whole of it in one night, would you believe? So I didn't watch the whole of The Gold in one night, but I watched the whole of that one in one night. You know, I was just on my laptop kind of doing things, and yeah, it was just playing, not really in the background, but kind of in the background, I suppose. So I wasn't kind of like paying full attention, but I was, you know, I was kind of watching it. And yeah, that was quite good. So yeah, I've watched a couple of things that I've quite enjoyed. So I think this is maybe the lilac, so I probably shouldn't really use that. I have got the wide grow game here, so I could try one with the wide. I'm not sure. It might just be a waste of the ribbon, which I just think, oh, that's silly, isn't it? Wasting some ribbon. So I don't think I'm going to do that. So yeah, perhaps I'll do some more with this one, because actually I thought this one looked really pretty actually when it was done. Yeah, so I mean, I wasn't kind of watching it 100%, if you know what I mean, because I was on my laptop, but you know, I was watching it enough to get the gist of what was going on, so that was quite good. I also went to the cinema. I had a bit of kind of mum and daughter time with my daughter, and we went to the cinema on Saturday, and we watched, oh gosh, what's it called? What's Love Got to Do with It? And yeah, that was kind of about like this like young kind of filmmaker, like an independent filmmaker, and she's kind of doing like a film documenting the arranged marriage of her neighbour, who, you know, yeah, you guessed it, she obviously is in love with, and yeah, he's having an arranged marriage. Anyway, it was really good film, and it was, you know, that lovely Lily James. I mean, she's so beautiful, isn't she? And such a lovely, watchable actress. So I think, oh no. Yeah, she was, I think, the girl in Beauty and the Beast. Beauty and the Beast? No, might have been Cinderella. Yeah, Cinderella. Beauty and the Beast, that was the one from Harry Potter, I think. So, yeah, she was the one from Cinderella. Anyway, she's always very watchable, and I really like her as an actress. She's, you know, she's just, yeah, just really watchable. So, anyway, that was a good film, and it also had Emma Thompson? Yeah, I think it's Emma Thompson in it, who, you know, again, really like her as an actress. So, yeah, that was a good film. So that was what my daughter and I went to see at the cinema this week. Haven't been to the cinema with my son at all. Have to say, partly because since we've had little Bo, you know, our lovely doggy, we kind of don't really want to go to the cinema and leave her in on her own. I know it sounds ridiculous, but because my son and I would go kind of in the evening, you know, we'd go like maybe when my daughter goes to her dad's, she goes there one night, you know, one evening a week, and yeah, we would maybe watch it, you know, go to the cinema then. And because it's still dark evenings, we don't want to go out and leave the dog in on her own kind of, I mean, obviously we'd leave the light on for her, and, you know, we'd probably leave the telly on for her, but it feels really mean to go out and leave her in. So we haven't been to the cinema. I mean, obviously if there had been something on that we desperately wanted to see, we probably would have gone. But because there's been nothing, you know, that we really wanted to see, we feel like, you know, we don't want to go and leave the dog to watch something we're not fussed about watching, if you know what I mean. So, yeah, I went with my daughter anyway on Saturday, and then obviously, you know, my sons were actually at home, you know, with my daughter. So it was kind of like, that was better. Yeah, so that was kind of, that was when we went to watch that. Oh, and little Bo, she's still just, yeah, bringing us such joy, and she is just such a gorgeous little, just such a gorgeous little doggy. Yeah, we just love her so much. So, yeah, we are loving her to bits, I have to say. So, yeah, she's definitely like a lovely addition to our family. So, yeah, really loving her. There we go. Right. So I'm still struggling a little bit with anxiety, so I'm really sorry that I still am really poor with my communication. I don't know, I'm struggling really with kind of, yeah, just kind of normal things really. So I do apologise, and yeah, hopefully I will return to more of a normal person soon. But it's hard, isn't it? You know, when you're kind of like in the throes of, I don't know, just I don't know, just life, I suppose, generally. And yeah, if you're kind of struggling with kind of like, you know, I don't know, anything a bit stressful, you know, it kind of manifests itself, and then becomes just hard to function sometimes, and that's just kind of where I'm at the moment. So again, I'm not going to use this because it's a thicker ribbon, so it just seems like a bit of a waste. So I'm going to use actually my white thread that I'd pre-threaded, and just do one or two pale coloured ones that I can do with the white thread. So let's just do some of this. Yeah, so I do apologise. I hope to be kind of like back to normal soon, but honestly, just, yeah, my life's like, you know, a little bit miserable at the moment, I'll be honest. And you know, yeah, don't want to kind of dwell on it too much here, because of course, you know, it's not really the place to do it, because I like to keep these a little bit more fun. But, and I've put off, I keep saying I'm going to do a video soon and give you all an update as to what's going on, but to be honest, I'm not really kind of feeling like talking about it at the moment either. So I do apologise, you know, for everything really, for my general kind of lack of communication, my general lack of, yeah, keeping you all up to date of what's going on and everything else. But yeah, I mean, hey, we all have stuff going on in life, don't we? And, you know, these things are sent to try us, as they say. So definitely I'm being tested to my limits at the moment. But anyway, we shall see. I mean, you know, I keep thinking, well, things can't last forever, can they? So yeah, hopefully one way or another, you know, I will eventually get through everything and it will all be fine, you know, life will resume to normal. But it's, yeah, a miserable situation at the moment for us generally in our house. So well, yeah, in our house, you know, and financially and all of those kinds of things. But anyway, gone off at a tangent, so I do apologise for that, but I just wanted to kind of explain why I'm so shoddy on my, you know, communication and things like that, even worse than normal. Just kind of stresses of life at the moment. So, you know, and yeah, I mean, obviously that kind of affects your ability to, you know, do videos and stay chirpy and, you know, have ideas and things like that. And so it just has a knock on everything in your life, doesn't it? But, you know, like I say, we all have stuff going on, don't we? So, you know, mustn't kind of dwell on it too much. You know, it is what it is, really. So yeah, it is what it is. But anyway, never mind. Yeah, so I mean, hopefully spring is not so long away. Like I said, it was kind of like bright this morning and I thought, oh good, you know, it's going to be a lovely day. It did kind of then start to look a bit duller. It's looking perhaps a bit brighter again now, but my goodness, it was freezing cold this morning. Went to the gym. It was 2 degrees. 2 degrees? Might have been 1 degree actually. I think it might have been 2 when I was coming back. Anyway, it was really freezing. I mean, when I say really freezing, and I know I say this a lot as well, but yeah, really freezing by my standards, which I am pathetically wimpy. So I realised that really freezing, probably not that freezing compared to a lot of people's temperatures that they're putting up with, but it felt pretty cold to me. So yeah, not the best. Oh, and my middle son, he is poorly at the moment. So he's been poorly now for, oh gosh, ages. Like, I feel like maybe a week. He was still going to work. Yeah, he was still going to work, but I think he's been off now since Thursday. Oh, his poor throat. He's got like really, really, really ulcerated throat. And actually he showed me it this morning. It's like bleeding and everything. It's kind of like really badly ulcerated. He's got some antibiotics, you know, he went to the doctors and he's got some antibiotics. And he's been taking them since Friday. But like I say, this morning it's actually been bleeding. So, I mean, I don't know whether they're not working or whether that's kind of on its way to being healed. I'm not sure. But yeah, so obviously he's still not at work today because he's really not feeling himself at all. So bless him, he's struggling. And then my eldest son, he is going away on Wednesday. He's going on like a working holiday. I can't remember now what they call this, but it's like a scheme where you don't get paid for it. You give your labour basically in exchange for, you know, accommodation and food. So it's in the Sahara Desert. He's going to the Sahara Desert. I can't remember whereabouts he actually said it was, but anyway, he's going off to the Sahara Desert and it's on a kind of like, it's like building some sort of, I don't know whether they're farm buildings or something, but anyway, you go for a week. So he's just had to pay for his flight, although to be honest, his flight was I think about £350, so it wasn't that cheap. And then you kind of like work for, I'm not sure, but it might be like 4 hours a day or something like that, you know, building in exchange for, like I said, free accommodation and food. And then of course you have the rest of the day that you can go off exploring and, you know, yeah, being on holiday. So he's doing that. He's going on Wednesday and yeah, very exciting. He's going on his own. So I feel very proud of him that he's, you know, he's being really brave and kind of doing that on his own. Yeah, kind of quite a courageous thing to do. And, you know, it's brilliant, isn't it? When youngsters now, they're having all these opportunities that, I'm not saying we didn't have as youngsters, but I think just due to the internet, we perhaps didn't have these opportunities because we wouldn't have heard about them, you know, unless you kind of knew of somebody. you know, who knew of someone who was offering an opportunity like that, you wouldn't necessarily have come across things like that. So yeah, anyway, he's doing that. So he's going on Wednesday to Wednesday, I think it is. So I'm going to pick him up from the airport. His dad's going to take him to the airport on Wednesday, and then I'm going to pick him up next Wednesday. So yeah, I hope he has a nice time. We've started having our family meal night on a Monday night now. So yeah, we can kind of like chat about it and things tonight, and you know, kind of like he can tell us a bit more about it tonight, because he only booked it a couple of weeks ago. So I can check out kind of final details and things tonight. But yeah, quite exciting. You know, he's probably a bit nervous. I mean, he doesn't say he's nervous, but he perhaps is. But yeah, exciting anyway. So he's doing that Wednesday. He's going. So I feel pleased that he's kind of like, you know, taking opportunities as they arise. You know, because that's what life's about, isn't it, really? Right, so I've just looked at the camera. We're up to like an hour, would you believe? So I've waffled on and, yeah, gone on. So let's count how many we've done. So we've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Wow. Oh no, 21. Wow, that was a record, because I'm sure when I rewatched it this morning to just refresh what we were doing, I'm sure I only did 15 or 16 in the last one. So my goodness, I've actually got faster at doing something, which is a miracle, because normally I just think, oh, I've actually got worse. So I hope you feel inspired. I hope you have fun if you decide to make a bunch of these. And you know, of course, these could then be used on your project. So if I just pull in something now, I'm just going to pull in, just for example, and I'm not necessarily saying this is the right thing, but just to kind of show you, this is the type of thing where you could then use your bows. So this is just one of my fun photos, and, you know, you could just kind of attach a bow on there like that. So, you know, they're just super versatile, so, you know, super usable, that you could just put on all different kinds of projects. You could put them on, obviously, you know, tags and pockets and all sorts of different things. So, yeah, I hope that you like them. And have fun if you decide to make a bunch. They're obviously a great way to use up some of your ribbons, if, like me, you're a bit of a sucker for buying ribbons. And, yeah, I hope you have fun. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Thanks, then. Bye.